I had a video today about this black guy that feels like he's stuck in the middle, where he feels as if he's listened to all the things that women say they want, or that's been professed on their behalf, and he feels like he exemplifies those things. Yet he's not getting the type of woman that he's interested in. But before we get into it, like, comment, subscribe. Trying to push, trying to grow.
Black nerd, a black man who is not the ideal type. I always kind of find it interesting that we're always in this kind of weird middle ground in the black community or black dating spaces to where we're the ideal man on paper, i.e., we work, we got an education, we have our shit together, and yet, despite the conversations of what black women want, I could listen to a million podcasts of what black women want. It's generally the same. And it's kind of funny how there's such a dire need. They claim that there's a dire need for black men to get it together, and they're loyal. They're so loyal to black men that they're willing to accept anything.
There's that big caveat. Just because, and I think this is a really important point, just because you meet the requirements, on paper, in your estimation, doesn't mean that guarantees you any sort of outcome. Something you have to remember, that you really have to remember: women want what they want from who they want it from. If you don't meet something, or there's a personality, or there's a look, you can be all the things on paper, but you still have to take care of your looks. You can just, it's not as if I'm trying to suggest you go under the knife, but you do the best you can do, and then leave it up to God, right? Hey, this is the best I can do. I've sought professional help in my look, in my style, and I didn't neglect the other parts, the other important parts. This is what I have. This is the best me that I can bring forward. That really should be our goal as men. Absent women entirely. You should always be trying to be the best you can do. You can be, like the old army commercials. But seriously, every year, even as I get older, I just want to be the best version, of me that I could put forward.
they're claiming they're willing to accept men who have felonies and have children by other women, and they're willing to hold it down for a little bit as long as you can put in a job application, as long as you can do that. But I just
This is another dangerous point where you conflate what you see with sometimes the worst of our culture with the best of us or the rest of us. Because you go online and you see an example of a woman saying that she's fine with you just as long as you put in a job application, doesn't mean the next woman you meet or desire has that very same mentality. That doesn't even mean that the woman that said those things will say the same thing in a year, 6 months.
find it so funny and interesting that when black women meet guys their level, like the educated lames, it is funny how there's a million one excuses why they can't date them. And I kind of, what inspired me to make this video was when I watched this well, I guess viral, but this video of a black girl talking about how suburban black girls date guys like Young Thug. And it's always so funny because as an educated lane, even though I wasn't a suburban kid, I grew up not in the hood, so I can't really relate to a lot of things. But it's always funny how I was told you need to date girls on your level. Stop trying to talk to baddies and talk to girls on your level. I'm like, I'm talking to girls who are educated, women who are in college, women that got something going on. You know, uh, it's so funny because these women will chase the bad boys. They'll chase these loser dudes or guys just riding off of sex appeal. And it's so funny that we are always told to date on our level. And I'm like, you're on our level. We grew up the same.
So while I don't know, this brother personally, but I, educated lame, right? nerd growing up. I was watching anime before it was cool. Uh, you know, my best friend and I, when we used to go to work, we would talk, Naruto all the time, Bleach, right? We we witnessed. I mean, I played Yu-Gi-Oh in junior high school. I played chess in college, right? At lunch, right? I like math. I like science, but I also realized that the the women that I wanted, right? They weren't necessarily into the things I was into. That didn't mean I had to change who I am, right? I just had to acquire new skills, new abilities. I had to rise above the idea that, well, eventually, they should like me for me, right? Because that's the same stories I was told growing up. She's eventually going to come around and realize I was the good guy all along. Ha ha ha. This is real world, right? And honestly, the advice from men is often harsh, right? From other men is often harsh. That if you don't get up and do the work, you will then life sort of just hands you what it hands you, right? And it's usually not what you want, not what you're looking for. So, I've been there, but you don't have any claim to women and how they move and what they want. If you are constantly in that circle of women that are indicating that they don't want you, why stay? Right? Go find your tribe. Go find the people that like what you like, that are interested in you for the things that you like. It may be and hard to sell. It may not be what you feel you deserve, but standing around and waiting for women to suddenly realize it is a wasted time, wasted effort.
I grew up with, textbooks slapped in my face and being told to read it and to master it. I grew up with parents who didn't have a formal education, and I had to be the the one that came out with the first college degree, with the first high school diploma. I know what that's like. And it's so funny that I'm delusional because I
You are delusional. Like, doesn't matter your accolades, right? And that may be good for you, but that may not mean anything anywhere else. I grew up with parents who were hella smart. My siblings are smart. Smart was the expectation. You know, when I graduated high school, they kind of looked at me like, yeah, of course, right? What do you want us to do about it? Like it's not really a celebration. I knew you were doing that. When I got my undergrad degree, I didn't invite my parents, I didn't invite my family out. It was another thing. It was like, yeah, we expected that. Same thing with masters. It's not to say that they weren't available to go. Not to say we didn't know how to celebrate. We definitely celebrated my brother. But none of that entitled me to women's attention.
want a woman that I find attractive, but I'm not like the other guys or the guys that you think that I am. That I'm chasing baddies or I'm chasing women who have nothing that have nothing in common. Who the fuck said I like anime? Yeah, it's like it's just so
Kind of look like you like anime.
funny how this is the same demographic of women who claim or at least say that they give men who are felons more chances than they deserve. But yet it is so hard for them to accept me for who I am and what I like or what how I present myself. I'm always the one that's not black enough. And
Listen, again, I got even that. I wasn't black enough growing up. All right, okay, cool. So next, right? I Again, you can't. And I say this a lot on channel. You can't legislate attraction, right? You can't say the right thing or convince someone that really isn't into you to be into you. It just really doesn't happen. And for most men, I would say the same thing. You stop spinning your wheels, right? There's no solution here. There's no key phrase, there's no puzzle to solve that is now going to turn their attention towards you. Even even what you hear a lot in these spaces, when she gets older and then she'll come back around and then she'll want me. No, no, don't think that desperation, that a woman's desperation is any type of game, right? That's not going to be the case. That's not going to be a thing for you. Let me know what you think in the comments. Again, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one.